Good day. In this session, we're going to go over the CCleaner for LabTech Business Edition. Very simple plugin available at www.pluginsforlabtech.com. You can actually go there right in your LabTech console, select CCleaner for Business or CCleaner for LabTech Business Edition. All right. You can then follow it to the support. And under support, you'll have a download link to download the latest version of CCleaner. All right, this is the DLL plugin. It will handle everything you need to manage CCleaner for Business Edition, including the installs and licensing of the CCBE edition coming out of Pureform. Once we have this downloaded and extracted, it should create a DLL file that you should be able to find. We've extracted ours to the desktop. Might right mouse click on it and go to Properties. And we suggest that you look first to see if there's a lock button here. If there is, you need to unlock the DLL first before using it. If not, you're good to go. Hit OK. At this point, we're going to go to Help, Plugin Manager. And under Plugin Manager, we're going to select Advanced, Manage Plugins, Add Plugin. We're going to browse to our DLL that we had, open up, and it should give you a quick little description of the package that we're getting ready to install. Go ahead and save and close. And that should now install CCleaner for LabTech, as you can see here. We're going to right mouse click on this now and enable it. And then we need to restart the database agent so that it creates all the appropriate tables, scripts, and other things that are needed to support the plugin. You'll see down here the progress of your database agent as it attempts to restart. Once this is done, it might take a minute or so. Then we can move on to closing out our console and completing the installs. Excellent. Okay, database has now been restarted. So we're going to close our LabTech console to complete the install. Yes. Excellent. Now let's get it restarted. Get it relogged in. Perfect. Now we should have the new plugin loaded. We'll go to the View menu, and on the View menu, you'll see CCleaner for LabTech. We'll go ahead and select that. And we get our CCleaner for LabTech window open. Okay, first thing we're going to need to do is LabTech is going to provide you with a CCleaner key and company name that you need to put in this area and save before you can deploy any clients. Over here, you'll notice that you'll either be valid to a certain date with a license count or you'll be invalid. If you're invalid, you'll need to contact LabTech support and have them validate and issue your license. Your license is going to be based off of your LabTech server name. So this address that you typically have up at the top of your server console without the HTTP will be the address that LabTech will need to make sure that the licensing goes through correctly. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put in our key. So give me a second here. And I won't put in the rest because I don't want you guys to have my key. Let's do it. Can't even spell today. All right, save that. Saving, saved. Okay, excellent. Now that we have our key here, we can decide what days of the week we want to schedule cleanings. Cleanings can be scheduled any day of the week, every day of the week, or just one day of the week. It's strictly up to you how you want to run it. I typically clean at least once a week, maybe twice. So we can do that. We'll set it for Thursdays and Tuesdays. Now down here we have master control update. This is basically auto updates the plugin. It turns this on, then it will check nightly to see if there is any updates to the current plugin and downloads those updates to you, making sure that you have the latest version of CCleaner for LabTech available to you at all times. If you do not want to have this update done, then you can turn this off. It typically does not overwrite any of your configuration files or anything of that nature. It just adds in new features and bug fixes as we find them. Once we have that information set up, we can now go and enable some machines to license so that we can start setting those up for our cleaning schedule. In our test system here, you'll see we have our only company. And we have the option here to exclude servers. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to enable this client for cleaning. We can choose whether or not to allow servers in that client to also be cleaned or be included in the licensing. And in this case, sure, why not? We don't have a lot of clients available, so we'll take every one we can get, or every machine we can get on this demo. So we'll go ahead and say do it. It goes out and enables that client. It found, looks like it found a couple of our servers out there and a workstation there. So perfect. We've got some machines available. You'll see over here whether or not those machines are online or offline currently. So we can see that we have an offline machine. You can also from here do a direct console open. So if you need to manage that machine for any reason, you can jump to that machine pretty quickly straight through the console here. Before the system starts operating, we have to turn the system on. All right. Turning the system on is done by just right here, auto clean. This is the automated process that will go out and make sure that the systems that you've enabled get CCleaner installed and that they start following the scheduled cleaning cycle that you have set down here. You can choose whether or not to include ticketing with each cleaning cycle so that as it goes out and cleans during the different days that you've set those cleanings, it will attempt to ticket the system and input time based on the time it took to actually do the cleaning. These tickets can sometimes get lengthy in data, and so if you have any particular exports or things like that that you're doing to third-party apps, you might keep that in mind that ticket data might cause you some issues with your export, so to determine whether or not that's a feature you want to use. Cleaning configurations. The global cleaning configurations are set for everybody. Now you can override these at the machine level so that if you go to the machine level and actually set the configurations there, it will override the global settings and use the machine settings. So you can do one-off or group sets of different configurations for different clients based on managing systems at the system level. But at the global level, you can set a more lenient policy maybe that is more globally covering the different client base that you have, making it a little easier for you to apply some basic cleaning settings. But if you need to get extensive with a particular set of people or machines, you can do that. So in this level, you can see here we provide pretty much every current descriptor that's available for CCleaner, and you basically enable them to have it clean that. If it's unchecked, it will skip or not look at trying to clean those objects. So you'll notice here that we start out with Microsoft Edge product. Then we move in from this point here to this point here is IE. So any of your older IE stuff will be inside here. And then from that point forward, you have Windows stuff that kind of rolls from here down to about, it looks like about here. Actually, a little bit further, one more. Down to network passwords. So between these two areas here is all Windows-based stuff and server-based stuff like IIS logs, event logs, previous installed versions of Windows, hot fix, uninstall files, things like that you'll find in this area. And then from that point down, you go into all the unique applications that are available, including your Opera, Safari, Google Chrome, Mozilla, Adobe Reader, and then it goes on from there. And you can scroll through here and choose which one of these apps you want to go ahead and clean any junk that might be in those apps out. If you need to adjust cookies that you want to save for your browsers, so you don't clean out those cookies, but you do keep the cookies clean, then you can come in and do things like we have here in the example where we set up certain websites that cookies we're going to maintain on a user system, their Office 365 cookies or their Google account cookies, or a combination of multiples where you can use the pipe key to separate multiple sets of approved URLs that you want to save cookies for. Excluding files, you're able to exclude certain file paths and folders. So by putting in special exclusions here, you can exclude several groups of files and folders that you may or may not want involved in cleaning. We give you again an example here of how to write that out. You would need, this would be one single path. We're basically saying here that we do not want to clean the path cwindows / lt service / and piped it to ***, which means we don't want anything in that directory cleaned. So it's going to save that directory. So you could copy this whole line right here and place it in your exclude file path, and that would be a valid insert. If you have any other bulk directives that are handed to you by CCleaner or Puriform or become available that are not listed currently in this list, you can add them through this local bulk directive INI insert, right? Which will basically append items that you don't find here that are actually available in the INI as settings. You can come in here and add those. Wipe alternative data streams is a good example of one of those. So you can copy this and pop that in there, and that would save that as well as part of the overall configuration for the CCleaner for Business Edition globally across your client base. We haven't actually done any cleanings or deployed anything yet. We're just getting started setting it up. So we're not going to have any global stats, historical data, or historical clean stats. So these tabs here are pretty much going to be empty until we start moving some data around and cleaning some systems. So we're going to do that here in just a second. So if you'll hold on, we're going to move over to turning this on here. And you'll notice that before we turn it on, we added 4 systems. They immediately started reporting issues. That's because it's a sign that they haven't been installed yet. They're enabled, but they're showing as uninstalled. So we can come over here and you can see, yes, that's true. We have had 0 attempts at trying to install them, and their path is currently bad, which means there's no path to CCleaner, no path to CCleaner. CCleaner is not installed. We can, right here, force a install and manually install it. We can turn it on, and as we turn it on, as the cycle runs through every hour, it will go through and try to find systems that are uninstalled and install it automatically. So it will self-deploy. You don't need to download any other applications, EXEs. You don't need to worry about getting anything from Puriform. The plugin goes to Puriform's site and pulls down the most recent copy of CCBE and make sure that CCBE is always up to date during the runs. At this point here, since we haven't actually launched automation yet, this is perfectly fine to see this way. If at any time you've over-attempted, it will stop it after 3 attempts. It will stop trying to install. So once you see 3 counts here, the automation will no longer attempt to install CCleaner on that, and it will not try to clean it until you manually do something about it. So you can come in here and clear the account so that it will start again in the automation to try to reinstall it. So if you've went and resolved whatever problem was causing it not to be able to install, and you want to just allow the auto install to kick in, come over here and clean your counts out. That should solve it. If you come in and clean your counts out here, any systems that are showing a path and high count levels, they'll clear them out of this system, because if their path is good, they're installed and ready to go. CCleaner will attempt to update the INI on every cleaning, so it will always pick up the latest bulk configs that you've set on your global configurations and bring them into that system at every cleaning. This means that if for some reason a local user decided that they found CCleaner on the system and wanted to run it, made some changes to it, and had adjusted it different to your configurations, on your next run, you will revert those configurations back to your global settings or your Pacific computer settings if you've gone to the local machine and then have set the bulk INIs there at the local machine. All right, let's go close this out. We're going to go ahead and turn this on. I'm going to go ahead and close this window out now, and we're going to move over to cleaning a machine directly. Okay, we go over and find ourselves a computer. Let's pull out one of our guys here. Here we go. He's over here. There we go. Now, we should have a CCleaner. There we go. Excellent. And you can see here by the analyzing reports, we have not been run yet. So we can go ahead and initialize a run by going ahead and selecting Analyze Now. When we select Analyze Now, what's going to happen is if this machine is enabled in our main global system, it will go ahead and follow through the process installing and analyzing based on the global configuration that we've set up at the main manager. If this system has not been enabled, then when you analyze now, it will enable the system for cleaning. Now this allows you to enable one-off systems directly without going through and bulk enabling them from the main area. This allows you to, if you only have one or two machines in a customer's in a customer's location or in a group of customers that you want to enable, you can just one-off go and enable those machines directly. Once you analyze it and enable it here, it will show up in the main group list for enabled systems. Go ahead and run it. And as you can see up here, it gives you a little bit of information on what it's doing. It's going to tell you kind of going as you go along what it's doing to your system. And it gives you a status bar here to show you kind of the progress, how far you along in the system that you are. All right. Each time you run Analyze Now, it does go out and verify CCleaner is installed and licensed correctly. It then goes and makes sure that the INI is in there correctly and that the bulk configs have been passed down. All right, you notice we had a little blip right there. That blip was because during the install process, it actually will produce your key here. So I was hiding my key out so you guys wouldn't see my key as it pumped through here. So, but you'll see now that it's finished installing and it's now running and analyzing on the host. So give it another second or two here to finish its job. And it will complete and supply us with some analyzation data. So we'll check this data and see how this looks here in just a second. Let this scan complete. Okay, let's check it for log files. A little bit more. There we go. It looks like it's moving the data over to the database now. Cleaning up everything on the end machine so that it's ready to run the next time. And it looks like we're complete. We should get a refresh of data, and there we go. All right, the system has been cleaned recently, and since we didn't select a lot of things in the global config, we didn't get much cleaning, much more than just some basic stuff being handed to us. If we were to select more of the applications in the global manager, we would get more. We can also come here and do the same thing, select here, and get the same functionality, enabling those items to be cleaned. We'll need to also make sure that we select the global override to turn that on to make these options available. To clean now, let's go ahead and clean it. We're not going to clean a whole lot, but that's okay. We can go ahead and clean it and get our system fully up to date here and cleaned. So we'll let that run. It's going to do the same thing. It goes through and verifies everything is there. This time it's not going to reload or try to install. It's going to see that it's installed and licensed correctly, and it should just go on about its business. Go ahead and let that finish. It takes a second here. All right, looks like we're cleaning up. Excellent. Clearing the logs. We should get a refresh of data here in just a second. Here we go. And we were able to clean the same 2.78 kilobytes. Excellent. So that is now done. You'll notice we have data here. Give me a second. I want to bring up our other window again, and you'll see that we now start to have some data there. So hold on a second. Okay, go back to the View menu, Cleaner for LabTech. As you can see here, we now have one license used. 3 still reporting issues because those haven't started at the top of the hour, haven't kicked off yet, so those haven't actually installed or gone through the install process. And we come here and we can see that we have some basic data. These are in megabytes, and since we only got 200 kilobit out of it, it rounded it up to 0 because we really didn't show much in that particular cleaning cycle. As we get to megabytes, these counts will go up more. All right, we come over to global stats. You can start to see the stats coming in. We are seeing, since we only have the one machine, we're getting stats coming in here as well. Keep in mind these are in megabytes, and a lot of these, some of these that we're showing zeros is because we are in megs instead of kilobytes. Here's a kilobyte one. You can see we get our kilobytes in there. Same thing with the historical cleaning. All right, and that is CCleaner. Let it roll, and every Tuesday and Thursday, it will start at midnight trying to find machines that are online that it can clean. It will clean all machines it finds online that are enabled, and it will then sit and start looking for machines that have not been cleaned yet to come online. When they do come online, within the top of the hour, it will start cleaning that machine. Cleanings are very low intensity and are done without any notifications to the end user. So it shouldn't have any effect on your end users relative to their daily operations. Doesn't require a reboot or anything, so you're not going to have anything that's going to directly affect the client during the cleaning process. If they do have browsers open, There may be some issues with the browsers getting fully cleaned appropriately, and or a prompt to close the browser. If that happens, I haven't had any reports of it, but if that happens, you can kind of work with those issues with your clients based on your policies. That is CCleaner for LabTech. Please visit our support at support.pluginsforlabtech.com. Provides forum support, our video channel here on YouTube, as well as the IRC LabTech channel. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any problems. We are here to help you. Thank you. Have a good day.